Hello everyone. Since traveling to Texas for some time off, I've had a bit of time off from writing these episodes and producing videos. Hopefully my flow will come back to me shortly as I continue to record and edit, but because I took a little bit of time off, I decided to delay the December recap until now. And knowing my luck, by the time I'm done editing and publishing this video, another major Life by You video will drop that I'll feel compelled to speak on, but I'll cross that bridge when I get there. Now, for those of you just finding this video and getting to know my channel and I guess my corner of the internet, my name is Michael and I want to welcome you to Sovereign Gaming in Life Sims, the YouTube channel where I build worlds, lots, and share my thoughts on video games in the life simulation gaming space. And welcome to my first ever face reveal on this channel. I decided that I wanted to surprise you all with a face reveal since I felt like it was time, and I also have just purchased some lighting equipment so that I don't completely look like Jabba the Hutt, but really I'm just done caring what others think of me. And I have always expressed to others, especially to people my age, that there's no shame in enjoying hobbies that they do, and I just kind of feel like it's the right time for me to practice what I preach and to actually step into my videos more presently and authentically. Hope you don't mind the surprise. Now, if the lighting looks off or if the camera angle looks weird, it probably is. I have no idea what I'm doing half the time, even when recording or editing anything really. But luckily, I have never claimed to be perfect at anything on this channel, so I'll just continue to stumble in front of the world until I have found my rhythm doing this whole YouTube thing that I've honestly grown to really love and enjoy. I can tell you even from the editing room that I am sick of looking at myself for this intro, so I'd just like to thank you for your patience on this as I start my little journey of discovering what it means to actually be camera ready. And no, I really can't edit out the double chins, but let's do this recap anyways. For the December Life by You recap, I just want to briefly summarize my thoughts and feelings on each of the videos that the Life by You team has published throughout December. The only video that I really take some time to really analyze pretty much by each timestamp was the last one that they put out with Rod Humble, and you know, it was their 2023 recap, so that's really the only video where I just kind of changed the pace of it going forward. And so yeah, I just want to highlight the other things that were briefly discussed, so let's just get started. Starting off with the cooking video that the Life by You team put out, immediately after watching the cooking video, I thought of expansion packs or DLCs continuing to offer a lot of cooking gameplay, and the ingredients, the substitution, and the custom recipe mechanics really add in a depth of gameplay to cooking within a life simulation game that I haven't really seen before, and I'm excited to see how this gameplay feature continues to evolve with the franchise. The search function is especially important for this kind of gameplay, and I was so glad and relieved to see it implemented. And I also like that you can shop the entire store from the register. I feel like that was something that was very handy and something that they they're solving for future problems there. Personally, I would also like to have some sort of a way to just shop for ingredients by the recipes that your Life by You human character knows, but that would be something that I would put in as a suggestion. I would drop that into the suggestion box, so to speak, in the early access game period, since I particularly don't care for shopping item by item in the game. I think it kind of it forces the player to babysit their Life by You human character a little bit when they're running simple errands, and I'd rather have my Life by You human character just shop, click to shop by the recipes that they knew when they were grocery shopping, just so that I, as the player, can keep that errand from taking up too much of my time. I honestly really do see the cooking gameplay as described in the Life by You video offering a gameplay cooking system that really just has a lot of depth to it and goes above and beyond from what I was expecting it to have. I can see players create custom content, offering cookbook-like packages of their own custom recipes for download. And I think that it would do pretty well on those download forums as well, whether it's through the Steam Workshop or otherwise. And as described in the blog that was released along with the cooking video, there are over 400 ingredients currently in-game, meaning that those 400 ingredients will likely be available to us at early access. And that's an assumption, so please take that with a grain of salt. And I'm not good at math, but That is a lot of recipes that players could potentially make with 400 ingredients at their fingertips. And they said that they were going to give us over 100 recipes to start with as well, for those of us that don't really care to create our own custom recipes. But my question, regarding the cooking custom recipes, is how it actually shows up graphically. In the blog, Loring explains that you can set the item reward when it is cooked successfully, but is there a list of custom dishes that you can set as the item reward for when you cook successfully? To me, it seems unfeasible that Life by You would have all the possible combinations for recipes based on 400 ingredients represented as a graphic plate of some kind. So this leads me to think that object creation or item creation will be done in the game using an editor tool of some kind in order to supplement the dishes graphically. But again, that's just me making an assumption here and making a speculation. So it might not turn out to be that case. For example, I don't imagine that the game has lokum or traditional Turkish delight represented as a graphic dish in the game, even though Life by You might have the ingredients for it. Like I mentioned before, I feel like there is a ton of potential in the food and cooking gameplay that I think that players will, much like the crafting system we were introduced to earlier on, have a lot of depth to play with. And to me, this continues to prove that Life by You is really greater than the sum of its parts, and it looks like it will be offering a gameplay depth never seen before in the life simulation gaming space. I was very impressed with the cooking mechanics, to say the very least. Let's move on to discuss the camera features released later on in December from Life by You. Now, I really don't have much to discuss on the camera features video, as I feel like the video was very straightforward. Essentially, Rocio was just walking us through on how to use the camera features in the game, and once again, this shows a gameplay feature that I think goes above and beyond what I would expect from a life simulation game, let alone a game that we're going to be playing in the early access stage. Since an in-game social media system does exist within the Life by You world, my questions here really revolve around the ability to post pictures on the social media system. Realistically, I wouldn't expect this kind of a gameplay feature to be available in early access, but with the presence of social media being present in Life by You, I feel like this might be a direction that it is going in when developing those features and developing the phone throughout. Again, they have been very careful not to show us the phone features, and if I remember correctly, they have promised us to walk us through how to use the phone and all of that. So if that video didn't drop by the time that this video comes out, then great. Otherwise we still have a couple of more features yet to be explained and shared with us. And if you can tell, the camera features video really just kind of opens up another can of worms for gameplay features, especially if you can post to social media in the game. And I mean that in a very good way. But yeah, that was really all the thoughts that I had regarding the camera features video that was released in December. Let's carry on and discuss the new relationships video. Earlier in 2023, the Paradox Life by You team released a video that showed off the relationship basics, like before the December video. And this time in December, the senior game designer Gabriel is showing the players more details surrounding the relationship game mechanic. Immediately what comes to my attention, and I don't feel like it is getting talked enough about, is that you can see at the 1:15 marker of the video that you can actually customize your own relationship states in the traits editor feature. This was actually my biggest takeaway from the video, and honestly at this point we really shouldn't be surprised, since Life by You's gaming edge is really handing the capabilities to customize nearly anything to the player. This just opens up a lot of gameplay possibilities within Life by You. For example, if you run legacy families, you can now create that great aunt relationship state when you need it. Or so it seems from my understanding of this mechanic. Another takeaway that I got from the end, where the Life by You humans were speaking in images, or I guess emojis. I really wasn't clear on that feature, but to me it seems like we can drop emojis and possibly even images in the conversations as we go to develop them. Even though the conversation system is something that I am particularly not overly excited about, I can easily say that it seems very well done and has a depth to it that really isn't getting touched by other life simulation games or upcoming ones. I've said this in older videos of mine, but story creators out there are really going to have a great time creating their own custom conversations and filming those stories. Gone are the days of pairing generic conversation elements with closed captions. At least now it seems like the storytellers of the YouTube world, I suppose, can really help immerse players into their creations and into their stories with these conversations features. And for that, I love it. Before I move on to the next December video, I did review some of the responses that the Life by You team had left in the comment section of that video. So I'll just quickly review those and summarize some of my thoughts. So the first response that they had left was the following. Yes, we're really excited since you might end up with a few options like location-specific responses, relationship-specific responses, or even interest-specific responses. I think that the Life by You team covered this before, but it does bear repeating that having certain conversation options populate under specific circumstances is quite advanced and something that I would have never thought was even possible in a life simulation game just because it demands a really sophisticated and intuitive system to deliver on that vision. The other response that they left in their comment section that I thought was interesting on the video was the following. We hope to show dates off in the new year. They're a type of event, and noting your suggestions. Thanks so much, Diane. And so what this reminds me of is the date minigame that we got back in The Sims 2's Nightlife expansion pack. The date minigame, quote unquote, from The Sims 2 Nightlife was actually quite fun, and it helped to break things up in terms of offering a new gameplay mechanic that can be used for storytelling. So I'm a huge fan of Life by You making dates into an event because to me it suggests that there might be requirements that you have to achieve in order for the date to be successful. But that's just my speculation. I'm actually excited to hear more on events and dates, and when I go to speculate it and when I compare it back to like The Sims 2's Nightlife date system and minigame there, it is something that I personally really enjoyed. So I'm excited to just kind of see something help to break up the pace a little bit when playing Life by You. So yeah, excited to learn more on that mechanic. Now let's move on to what I think was the most important video of December, and that was the 2023 recap video hosted and released by Rod Humble. And for this one, I actually want to watch, pause, and comment on it like I mentioned earlier in the intro. So let's get into it.
Hello everyone, my name is Rod Humble. I'm here to talk about Life by You, what we've achieved in 2023 and what we have to look forward to as we approach early access in March 5th, 2024. So I'm going to talk about features that we've worked on, what is coming up, and I'm also going to play a little bit of Life by You. We understand that the character creator and build tool are the pillars of any successful life simulator. Over the past year, we've made a lot of revisions to our build tool and our character creator. The character creator in particular obviously generates all of our characters, and we have seen good, solid improvements on our masculine characters. The feminine characters have got a little ways to go, and we're going to continue to improve both sets of characters during early access together with you based off your feedback. There are many elements that go into breathing life into characters within a life sim, from lighting to animations to idols, as well as the basic skeleton structure themselves, plus obviously the variety of clothing and the customization options. We have improved all of those elements, and we will continue to work on and improve all of those areas during early access.
In my last video where I decided to revisit the conversation about the character design and the graphics, I had to interject and break the fourth wall a couple of times just due to this video alone. And the reason for that is that I was really forgetting the foundational understanding that we are indeed being invited to play a game that is an early access version, and that elements of the game will continue to improve throughout the early access time period. Judia Albert left a really great comment on my last video talking about the graphics, and to partially quote them, I went into my purchase of early access with eyes wide open. I fully understood I was being invited to participate in a work in progress, and it would be a little rough around the edges to start. If this were a finished game that was going to be fully released in March, I'd be concerned about the graphics, but it's not. The developers state time and time again that the graphics are a work in progress. Facial animations and physical animations of the characters are important to me, but I don't expect those to be present at the very beginning of early access. I'm just excited to be able to try this game out. This is yet another example of a great point being made eloquently, and a comment that really hit home for me, in that I have to start talking more about the basics here, which is that Life by You is indeed a work in progress, and that the early access version in of itself is indeed still a work in progress, except it's just made public for us to play. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't think that I was ragging on Life by You by any means, but I was definitely letting the details overshadow some of the bigger picture, which is okay. Like, I'm not perfect, and I never claim to be. And in future, I'll just be more careful about using language that reflects what I expect during early access and what questions I would like answered leading up to it. But let's carry on.
When it comes to the build tool and fellow builders, hello. We have already done several versions this year, and we're going to continue to update with new versions during early access. Some of the improvements that we've added this year are new stair types, new customization options for windows, dressings, and other areas. Plus, we have redone the user interface based off some tester feedback that we had. Also, we've added search to help you find items a lot easier during the build tool. Plus, we added some extra dynamic customization options on some of the objects that you can place within the homes. And during early access, we're going to be adding a few major features as well. So it's a very exciting time to be a builder, and we really think you're going to enjoy these tools a lot, even at the start of early access.
There's nothing much that I really wanted to touch on here, except I did want to mention that there seems to be a lot more makeup options than what we are given in The Sims 3. Are there extensive makeup options in The Sims 4, including expansion packs? I'm not too sure, but feel free to sound off in the comment section with your thoughts for those of you that enjoy playing The Sims 4. But I did want to point this out because a color wheel and several hard-coded options can go a long way for creating Life by You human characters. As for building, I still have questions whether some sort of an apartment play will be possible in the near future, although this feedback really belongs in other videos, and I have mentioned it before based on certain screenshots from previous videos. Knowing the different kinds of lot types or housing options would be great at this point. And yeah, I honestly wouldn't expect apartment play to be in a base game or even in an early access, but just getting that confirmed would be great for tempering expectations come this March. After all, and I'm sure I'm finding the screenshots and putting it up right now, there are some screenshots that just kind of suggest this, and so I would just like to see that a little more confirmed at this point, just to at least temper our expectations for the early access version and for the base game as well. There are other building features that I would like to see eventually added into the game, such as curved walls, since Paralive seems to be doing it for their game. But again, because this is being released as an early access game, I honestly wouldn't expect this kind of a building feature to be added in until later on, when the franchise has matured and grown and possibly on the brink of releasing their base game release. But let's continue watching.
Hey everyone, I'm just going to play around with Owen and what's his partner's name? Alison. Just to show off some of the things that we worked on. By the way, you like the new microwave model? It's nice, huh? For the very important family gameplay, we have done several revisions, and we've also revised our underlying systems. So family gameplay, we want to make sure that all of those systems work together and the skeletons work from the visuals of the character creator as we add kids and babies during early access. We're also revising the visuals of the elders, and we are really looking forward to seeing what you think of them. We have had a great year adding crafting systems. So far, we have added archaeology, where you go out to the world and you do archaeological digs, and you can write papers about them and you can make things at the crafting bench. We have added beachcombing, where there are seashells and sea rocks, and you can craft those into various tourist things that you can sell. You can also use them as fertilizer for gardening later on. We have added flower arranging and wildflower collecting, so you can go out and make these wonderful arrangements, and you can collect flowers that you see growing out in the wilderness. You can also grow them. And we have also added knitting, not to be at knitting, which was in the promotion video, but we also added several recipes in there, so you can craft many different kinds of clothing, and also you can sell them in game as you like. And the crafting system as a whole has seen many, many improvements, so we're really excited by it. We have also improved gardening and cooking in 2023. There are now several from garden to table recipes, so you can create your own produce and then cook it and make your own meals. You can even sell those meals if you want, or go and give them to your neighbors as gifts. And gardening itself has got a complete makeover, where we've added a whole ton of new things that you can plant and grow and bring to fruition in your home, either as a full-time way to generate revenue if you want, or just as a way to supplement your food around the kitchen table. One of the areas we have added a lot of content is quests. Though that content has been added to support jobs, relationships, meeting people, getting you out into the world, discovering how various systems work. Plus, of course, we've added quests that support crafting, that support cooking, that support gardening, plus a lot of home activities. So there's a lot of content in there, and we're really happy with the amount of stuff that we got in for you for the start of early access. Obviously, we'll continue to add even more content during early access, but it's a lot of fun and there's a lot to enjoy.
I'm just going to interject in here again and share a little bit of my thoughts. So Rod Humble is very clear on that kids and babies are to be added during the early access period and not before it. It is nice that we are starting to get clarification on these features now that we are closer to the early access launch on March 5th. And if I were to speculate, I would assume that pregnancy gameplay won't be coming along until after the early access game launches as well. Other than that, Rod Humble is just showing off some of the updates and tweaks that they have made, but if there's one observation that I would like to share, I would like to point out how the language being used reinforces updates and features happening during the early access period, not before it. Again, we, the public, are being invited to play a game that is very much a work in progress, and so there's only so many ways to say that improvements are happening and are scheduled to update during the early access period. But let's carry on watching.
Also, as you may have noticed, we changed the turn animations as well, so they're a bit smoother. But we've got a long ways to go in terms of all of the little idle animations, all of the little interactions, but we are definitely getting there. There's the spiral staircases, by the way, that you can use. And does anybody work here? What are they up to? Appraising? What are they looking at? Something. We added a whole bunch of conversation and dialogue content in the game, plus we revised our conversation and social gameplay systems. I know Gabriel did a video going through this quite recently, so you might want to go and watch that. The dialogue and conversation options stretch from work to personal social life, plus talking about various subjects of interest between the characters. So it's a lot of fun. And of course, in Life by You, anytime you want, you can just enter whatever dialogue you want, so you can take over and tell the story that you want to tell anytime you wish. Everyone, I'm going to have another quick play around in Life by You. Today we've got Prince and his partner, who is Anna. Let's check him out. All right, Anna, what's your personality? Ooh, criminal background, entrepreneur, okay, fickle. Okay, she's gloomy, imaginative. I love that. Okay, she's going to put in the work. All right, maybe part of a criminal background. And let's check out Prince. He is
He's active, bold, entrepreneurial, messy, shameless, like being in bushes. It's funny. All right. And do either of them have jobs? Yes. So he's a cleaner. But, uh-oh. Oh my goodness, Prince tried to steal from her. Prince, come on. She's your partner. Oh, now what's he doing? Now I'm just curious. Now he's just daydreaming. All right. That is funny. And we're starting to get the population of the town up a little bit as well, as you noticed. What we are doing is we're making sure that every single character that you see has got like their own wants and needs, and they're living their own lives. So they're not just they're not props, and that's why you're able to just right click on any of them and just play them or change them however you like.
When it comes to the visuals in our open world, we have done revisions to our environmental lighting, including the time of day lighting, which I think looks gorgeous. We have redone our vegetation system, so all of the plants and trees are going to look better. And we've also redone the water. We're going to continue to improve those during early access, but we're quite pleased with what we achieved in 2023. That's it. Thank you so much for joining us on our journey to early access, which is March 5th, 2024. And I just want to thank you all for spending your time and your interest in Life by You. I think we're going to have an absolute blast together as we build the game during early access. And I just want you to have a wonderful holiday season, and we'll see you next year. Bye-bye.
I'm glad that Rod Humble mentioned that the animations are improving and are on the list of things to improve during early access. Again, there's only so many ways to communicate that elements of Life by You are scheduled to improve and evolve during the early access time period, which is indeed a work in progress period and functions pretty much like an open beta for us. The price you pay for early access, by the way, is also a purchase of the full version of the game when the full version releases, as per the FAQ on the Paradox Life by You website at this time. And I've also just put up that screenshot there. There's also something interesting during this segment that Rod Humble mentioned, and he talked about populating the world, making it so that every character you see is living their own life. If you're new to this channel, you can check out some of my older videos where I specifically talk about the need to manage populations as a player within Life by You, and I've also peeped some comments where some of you are worried about population management yourselves. I still share that same worry, but I personally feel like it is a good problem to have, and it also helps to make the case for a real gameplay need for multi-housing lots. Again, these are topics that I brought up in the past, but I love how Rod Humble is mentioning it here because it just goes to show that these worlds and towns are truly open world, and it also helps to support what I've been saying this whole time as well. Unfortunately, what isn't made clear is whether or not they're just working on households that the team has created, or whether this also includes working on townies and NPCs and also tourists. But again, I've covered these questions and speculations in the past, and my thoughts really haven't changed since I don't feel like I am learning anything new on that end. After reviewing all of the December content and watching the videos that has been released throughout the month of December by the Life by You team, I think that the most substantial change is really the smallest, and that is the reminders that come this March, we will be given an opportunity to play Life by You as an early access game, not a final product. Perhaps this was never a change, but just me losing the forest for the trees, so to speak. But that was really my biggest takeaway from the December videos. With that said, and this is definitely not something I see on my channel, but I think that players need to simmer down a little bit when it comes to the character design. In my opinion, I think that the Life by You human character designs are acceptable for an early access game, a game that is still being worked on. In art, when you are drawing humanoid figures, usually you draw the shapes first and the outlines first. Now, this isn't me lecturing the general public on how drawings and sketchings develop, but I feel like this is the perfect metaphor to describe where the Life by You team is at with their own character designs. And now that I think about it, the Paradox Life by You team has been extremely transparent in telling us that the character designs, graphics, and animations are not final products that we are seeing on screen. For me, I'm going to choose to save my feedback on character designs and animations for when I actually do have the early access game in my hands, as I feel like my feedback would actually be more valuable when I get a chance to actually play the game in its early access state. I also feel like the early access period will be a time period where the most improvements will actually occur, but we'll all just have to wait and see for what happens then. At this time, I'm just going to encourage you to share your thoughts. Did you also notice the language change to highlight the early access period as a time to evolve Life by You? Or perhaps I just missed the forest for the trees and completely forgot the fundamentals with my previous videos. What questions do you still have about the game? And are the graphic and animation improvements we have seen so far reassuring for you? Comment below with your thoughts. And until next time, I just want to take a moment to say thank you so much for watching this video. And if you've enjoyed this video and hearing my thoughts on Life by You, then feel free to like it and consider subscribing if you haven't already. Thank you again for watching, and I hope you have yourself a wonderful day.